So let me start this video out by saying that I actually never played Hellgate London when it first came out. A friend of mine named Lexer had posted about the London 2038 server for Hellgate London on Twitter, and it piqued my interest because, as you guys know, I'm really into playing older MMORPGs and like old school games, PC games like that. So I figured it would be something really cool for me to check out. Now there is a version of Hellgate London on Steam which I looked up, but apparently it's a completely different version of the game that the 2038 server runs on. The 2038 server runs on the original physical copy of the game, like the launch copy of the game, whereas the Steam version is like a newer, updated version of the game. And the Steam version doesn't have very good reviews. I don't have any experience with it, but the reviews are very mixed on it. So I might end up picking it up if it goes on a good sale, just so I can kind of see what the differences are between the two. But overall, the reviews are not very stellar for the Steam version. But if you want to play the 2038 version, you do have to have your own copy of the game. Luckily, it's pretty easy to find. You might even have a friend who still has a copy of it. Someone like me who keeps every PC physical copy that I've ever bought. If not, you can also find the game on places like eBay for pretty cheap. I saw some copies for like 10, 15 bucks that had everything complete in them, serial key, book, all that good stuff. Yes. So you will need that to install so that you can get onto the server. So first impressions of the game, obviously looks-wise, it looks like the time period that it's from, to put it lightly. It looks good. I don't think it looks bad by any means. I'm not a graphics snob, as you guys know, but it does look pretty good. It looks like it's an older game, and the special effects and the spell effects and things look pretty good. I decided for this video to make a new character. I was playing around on a Guardian character when I was playing in my off time, but I wanted to make a new character for the video, so I made a Blade Master, and been trying that out for the first like 5 to 10 levels to kind of see what that's like, and also to record footage for this video. So as you jump into the tutorial, you're right into the story. It kind of brings you up to speed on what's going on and walks you through the initial play style of your character and like your different action buttons and things that you need to do to actually get playing and move on to the first safe area, which is the underground. Apparently the London underground is like warded against demons, so that's where all your towns, quote unquote, are, and your safe zones, merchants, that kind of thing, which is pretty cool. I like that concept, and I like having the little hubs of players in the underground to interact with. But as I made my way through the first area and then got to the first station, there was a bunch of quests to pick up, so I grabbed those and I started heading out and exploring and doing those quests. And I found it to be a lot like a dungeon crawler or like an action RPG, maybe even more so than an MMORPG. Just the way that the combat feels and the looting is and the way everything is kind of laid out. It does very much feel like a dungeon crawling RPG like Diablo or Torchlight, those kind of games where it's all about going down to the dungeon, fighting tons of enemies, and getting lots of interesting different loot. It kind of has that same vibe as I'm going through these initial opening areas. The combat is pretty decent. I'm not honestly digging the Blade Master a lot. It could be more fun as you get higher. I know when I got to, I think it was level 5, I finally got the ability to dual wield, which was a nice little bonus. But overall, I think I'd probably enjoy another class. I'm going to play my Guardian some more and see how that goes. And they had like a summoner class and like a technician engineer, I think something type class. They had a few different ones that sounded interesting, but I wanted to pick something that was more kind of basic and easy, straightforward for my first time jumping into it. So maybe as I get more familiar with the game, I'll try out classes that may be a little more complex. But so far, it feels like most RPGs. You get your quests, you go out, you do them. You gain experience, you gain stat points to increase your stats, you gain talents or, the ability to get new abilities and augment your abilities, very similar to like a Diablo 2 tree is what it reminds me the most of. I'm sure that there's certain builds for each class that are like the best way to go, or maybe it's to specialize in one area or the other, which is pretty cool. The looting system again feels very similar to Diablo, where you find these items and they have a color graded system depending on how good they are or how rare they are, and they come often unidentified. You have to use an analyzer to identify the item so you can actually see what the stats and the abilities and things are on the items. And from my understanding, the people who founded this company, the developers that made this game, apparently started on Diablo. They came from Blizzard North, so I guess it would make sense to see all of these similarities between Diablo and Hellgate, which is not a bad thing at all. I'm a huge fan of the Diablo series, well, the Diablo series pre-Diablo 3, hoping for good things with 4. But so I can definitely see why there would be a lot of those similarities. I did get a really cool quest to go and check out a rift, a Hell Rift, Hellgate, and that was pretty cool. It's like a almost little like mini dungeon room where you fight a big boss and he drops a ton of loot and stuff. That was actually really cool, and having that big open like hellish landscape was a really cool feature. But overall, I think that's about it for this video, guys. I'm really new into this. I'm gonna play a little bit more and kind of delve a little bit deeper before I make my next video. This is just kind of like a first look, first impressions on my part, but hopefully you enjoyed it. And if you're interested in all and checking out the 2038 server yourself, I'll go ahead and link that in the description below. But again, you will need your own copy of the game to be able to install and play on the server. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will see you guys on the next video.